Hello and welcome to the Roofers Coffee Shop and Cotney Consulting Affinity webinar. We're going to get started in just a minute, so pour your cup of coffee. We'll be starting soon. Okay, hello again and welcome to this Affinity webinar from Roofers Coffee Shop and Cotney Consulting. My name is Heidi Ellsworth and I'm with Roofers Coffee Shop. And we have the experts in marketing and low budget marketing here today. But before we get to those introductions, I want to just a few housekeeping reminders that this is being recorded and it will be available both on Roofers Coffee Shop and Cotney Consulting for you to watch on demand and share with other people in the industry. Also, we love to hear from all of you, so please chat. The chat is open and we're going to be looking forward to hearing your thoughts, sharing them. In fact, if you want to even say where you're at right now, what city or state, who you are, feel free to chat that in as we're going along. If you have any questions, we want to answer them as we go. So please pop them in there and we will be trying to address them, or we'll get to them by the end of the half hour. So let's get started. First of all, I would like to introduce John Kenny with Cotney Consulting. And John, thank you. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you. Glad to be here. It's always fun to get together and do these, that's for sure.
I know. It's so fun to be able to bring the Cotney Consulting Group and the Roofers Coffee Shop Group and all of them who are doing both across. So the other person I'm very happy to introduce is Karen Edwards, the COO of Roofers Coffee Shop and Casimir Group Marketing. Karen, hello, and why don't you just introduce yourself?
I'm so excited to be here with you, Heidi and John, to talk about some low budget marketing ideas. You know, Heidi, you and I are both very passionate about marketing, and we've had challenges over the years with our CFOs and our budget requests. And we've had to get kind of creative sometimes in finding marketing success for not a lot of money. So I'm really excited to share that with everybody today. I've been in the roofing industry for about 20 plus years. Been on my own now with my own consulting firm and working with Roofers Coffee Shop for the last 6. And spent some time at a major manufacturer, at a tech company. So we'll talk a little bit about secrets from those experiences coming up.
Perfect. And it looked like for just a minute that maybe our chat was disabled, but I think it's fixed. So thank you, Ariel, for letting us know. Try it. If not, go to the questions and answers and we can get those things going too. So it should, I'm hoping, be working right now. We'll try. Yes, Peachtree, yay, thank you. Okay, our chat's a go. Okay, great. So, well, let's kind of, Karen, to your point, let's start there. Well, actually, before we get to that, let's start with John, because what we want to do is kind of set the stage. So we always, through the years, we've been through ups and down economics, companies, even when the economy is great, companies sometimes have ups and downs, depending. One of the first things they tend to always look at is their marketing budget and what to do. So John, maybe set the stage a little bit and just talk about that, why roofing companies shouldn't, what they can do to be creative and how they should be looking at that marketing budget.
Sure. So looking at this both from being on the roofing contracting side and having to deal with these one-on-one, as Karen brought up, directly with the CFOs and what your budgets are. And also looking at this from what I'm now dealing with clients who are asking these same questions. How much should I spend? What's too much? When do I need to gear back? So first thing I want to clarify, low budget marketing does not mean low quality marketing. So low budget marketing, in my opinion, is what I've always looked at it is getting the most return on your investment dollar for the quality material that you're going to put out there. So the advice that I give, that I've always led by, and I do the same even being in my own company now, is to try to get as much quality exposure without spending that much money, because money is very important to keep it in. I love to keep that little line at the bottom of the financial statement as black as possible and as large as possible. So I tell that to my clients when I'm working with them. We look at their marketing budget. A lot of people have the the notion or the conception that it's 10% of your your gross revenue should be spent on marketing. I say that's a lot. That's probably true, and I'm not going to get too much into that, Karen. I know you're more of an expert on that. I think that's more of an industry kind of a standard or look at. When I work with clients, I've seen people spend 15% of their overall budget and they get amazing results out of it, and there's no reason to not keep doing it. And I've also worked with people who spend less than 3% or or even 2%, and they're doing real well. And I've also worked with people who have spent 10% and they're getting nothing out of it. So I would say let's focus on what we're going to focus on now and not be stuck on that number percentage of revenue.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And I have to tell you, just in my career, so much, I've always looked for the creative ways to get out in front of people. And a lot of times the most creative ways aren't that expensive. And it's just building those relationships and being there. But I think the first thing you have to do is you really have to look at building your brand and letting people know who you are and making sure you're sharing the good news. So press releases. Karen, this is your baby. Karen does amazing press releases. So let's talk about how the roofing companies out there can do them themselves.
I love press releases because basically what a press release is an announcement to your local newspaper or your local media. And it's the who, what, why, where, when of journalism. Say you had a new addition to your team. That's great news. Let's tell the community about it. Say you added a new product line or a new service. Say you're involved in a community fundraising activity, or maybe you just won a contract for a large project, or you just completed a really cool, unique project. These are all press release worthy. And you can look online, Google press release examples, and there'll be a format out there to help you know how to set this up. And then go to your local, especially if you're a roofing contractor serving a small city or metro area, you have a newspaper, you have television, radio stations. If you go to their websites, there's always somewhere in there, usually hidden down in the footer, contact information for an editor, a business news reporter. Send those press releases out. If you have photos, send photos. They look for news all the time. They need stuff to fill that paper or to fill their website. So they're going to pick up your news 9 times out of 10 and run that. And it's okay too to follow up if you don't see it out there in a week. Send them, hey, I just want to make sure you got this note. Do you have any questions? When can I expect to see this published? And then to figure out, okay, what's the value that I'm getting out of this? It used to be in the old days, I'll date myself, when people were buying print ads, right? You would say this amount of space in the newspaper for my ad would cost me X amount of dollars. I sent a press release out and it took up this amount of space on their website in their printed paper. And what would that have cost me if I bought that space to put an ad about my business? That's kind of how you can say, well, geez, if I had bought an ad, that would have cost me $750 or $1,000, but I got this printed because it was newsworthy and it didn't cost me anything but a little bit of time to write the information down and to send those emails out. That's for your local media. And don't forget about your industry media either. That's really important too, especially in roofing, because we are, even though we're such a big industry, we're a small industry too. And, we've got specific industry publications like Roofers Coffee Shop, for instance. If you got that cool project or you have a new hire or you're expanding, adding a division or an office location, those are the kind of stories that we'll run as well. And so that adds credibility to your business because you can then, when you're talking to customers, hey, our industry has featured us and talked about our projects and our news. So it's really a great, easy way to build that brand and build that recognition, that name recognition in your community and industry.
And it's really, you will have somebody in your office who can write. You will find them. They're there. So you got to look within your audience. And John, I know you do a ton of writing and you put articles out there. I know we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but it's the same thing as press releases. It really it continues to build your brand.
Yeah, I think I agree with everybody on this. Press releases are great. From a roofing contractor, I think you can really utilize these, your local business journals when you're doing promotions from within, hiring a new employee. They're always, they have a section just for that. You will get printed in it. They're always looking for it. And nothing better for one of your employees to see that you've recognized them through this press release in a local business journal.
Yeah.
So it's positive not only for clients, it's positive for building your internal teams. And I agree with local media. I don't think enough contractors utilize the local media. They're absolutely always looking for stories. I know being involved in the Contractors Association here in Tampa Bay area, we utilized them and got our companies listed. We were doing charity roofs. There's all kinds of great things you can give back to the community through press releases. And if you truly win when I say a real, I mean a good, award, because they're I don't mean posted every week. You make up an award inside your company, but if you win something for a community business award, an industry award, those are great things to put out on press releases as well.
Yeah, and even applying for those awards and then making sure you put it out there. And I'll give you an example. Roofers Coffee Shop, we applied for the MetalCon top products, and we just found out that we are a winner in that, and we just put out a press release. So there we go, yay. So those, I think it kind of really dives into that whole bigger picture of public relations. And with public relations, it goes from just sending a press release to really building that relationship, to really getting to know. And I'll give you an example. In our small town of Sisters, Oregon, the Nugget newspaper is a great newspaper. Once a week, we know the editor, we know the people over there, they're awesome. And once you get to know them, there's a lot of other opportunities that come around too. So Karen, maybe you can kind of start us out talking about this.
Sure. Yeah. Building those relationships. And a great example, Heidi, is, Heidi and I do some work for the Roofing Alliance, which is the foundation of the National Roofing Contractors Association. And over the years, we have built up relationships with the editors of some of the roofing industry magazines. And I'll give a shout out to Chris King from Roofing Magazine. He's a very good friend now. And when Kelly Van Winkle took over as president this year, we just said, we would love to feature her and her involvement in the industry and National Women in Roofing. And Chris said, I'd love to write a Q&A, interview with her. And so because we had that relationship there, it's easy to reach out. So, by building those relationships with your local media, maybe you are going to have an event. Maybe you did open a new service division and you want to do a ribbon cutting. And then you can reach out and say, hey, can you guys come? Can you cover this? Might you get your local news there? You never know.
Right.
It's great to build those relationships.
Yeah. And I think, when you look at the events that are going on either with your company, like I love that, a ribbon cutting, what a great idea, no cost, right? Great publicity. But yet the other thing too is find out what your employees are doing and how can you support them, even just by being there and wearing your shirts. So John, you see this a lot with the companies. I mean, how important is that to the culture of the company too?
Yeah, so biggest mistake a lot of companies make, especially, smaller companies, mid-sized companies. Oh, I don't have a public relations agency. I don't have a PR person. No, you don't really need that. Here's something that is I'm going to give you, this is a really good pro tip, right? Every roofer has weather in their area. What I mean is there is inclement weather everywhere in the United States and probably the world going on right now. You contact your local media on an off season, your local ABC, NBC, Fox, whatever it is, local channels, and you let them know, hey, I'm a roofing contractor. I deal with all these weather relationships. I just want to let you know that I am here, ready and available. If a storm comes in and you need an expert to get on one of your shows and speak or talk about what's going on or tell you what the emergency responses are, they will absolutely call you when that time comes. There's not that many people, especially in our end of the industry in roofing, that have done that. A lot of people make the mistake and say, well, I want to be on Fox Business or MSNBC. But I will tell you, here's the pro tip. You get on your local, they very often replay that on the national circuit because they have nothing else to cover the story on when an event happens locally. So you can, as they say, the old saying, kill two birds with one stone. You can do it all. So I think public relations is very much overlooked and it costs you nothing.
Right. Yeah. Except sharing your wisdom, right? Sharing, getting out there, being involved with the community. And, speaking of that, let's talk about the new age of social media. So Karen, you are an expert at this.
Oh, social media is so important. And it doesn't cost anything but a little bit of time and planning. And it's important to understand where your customers are, right? If you're a mostly residential roofing contractor and you're providing services for homeowners, repairs, replacements, insurance work, you're going to find most of your homeowners on Facebook. However, we do have this next generation of young homeowners coming up who are only on Facebook for their parents. They're spending their time on Instagram. So it's important for you to be there and to have a presence and to post regularly. What's regularly? 2 to 3 times a week. Pictures of jobs, places you're going to be. Hey, we're going to be at the community days this Saturday. Stop by and say hi. A picture afterwards. We had a great time at the community days. I had a contractor that I work with in Texas, and they would partner with their local animal shelter. And on National Dog Day, they would bring one of the pets available for adoption into the office for the day and post pictures, and the amount of attention that received and the amount of shares. And then it also helped the dog get adopted. So, there's interesting, fun things that you can do. If you're a commercial focus, then you want to look at social media outlets like LinkedIn. And John Kenny is the king of LinkedIn. I know I see John on there all the time. And it doesn't always have to be original content. You can share content. Roofer's Coffee Shop puts a lot of stuff out there. And RCA is posting helpful information. So, you can find these accounts and you can just share their content if you don't have time to come up with something on your own. But it's really, really important. And also like the new channels, TikTok, we just started our TikTok and we're amazed at we got 5,000 views on talking about mental health and importance with one of our influencers. And it might not seem like it, but boy, that is a way to do it at no cost, except a little bit of your time.
Yeah, it's so true. It is all a whole new age. But John, I've loved LinkedIn, and you are also very involved with groups. So maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so social media is a great avenue. The only downfall I can recommend anybody is I've seen this a lot where people create their company pages and then they go stale. They never post. That's actually a negative towards you if someone comes and research it. It's kind of like having an old website that's not updated, but these all tie in together. So I agree. If you're into the homeowner business, Facebook is a great place to go and promote your business. Try to keep your posts, always keep them informational. I think it's a turnoff to me, and I think most people, when right away you're trying to close a sale on your social media, you want it to be more informational and learn about your company, what you do, what you give back, why you're an industry expert. The sales will come. It takes a little while to build it up. And on LinkedIn, if you're business to business, that's where you need to be. That's your business to business decisions. One of the greatest, newest features they came out with this year on LinkedIn is the repost feature, where you actually can repost someone else's article. You tie into all that engagement that gets on that original article, plus your people on your network see what you're posting. I think that is fantastic. So it also doesn't mess up the algorithms if you post too many times. Yeah, believe it or not, the big social networks are out there and they time it. But if you're an expert on something, you have a hobby, you want to, something to help the industry, get it out there. Be that person. Don't always be trying to close the sale. Get your information, promote your company, talk about your employees, how well they do with their jobs, what makes your company different. people read that stuff, and you get a chance to write an article. I know it's hard when you first do it. I went through it. It's very hard, but there's nothing better than getting a few articles out there that shows that you're an expert in your field. And only last thing I'll jump on is that TikTok. So for me, at my age group, learning about TikTok was a real experience, but I have found out the studies that the newest generation Z out there is making their buying decisions directly off of TikTok. So that's something we're all going to have to figure out here in the next few years, because I think we're going to be selling roofs over TikTok.
Right. I think so too. I mean, I had the same problem with TikTok, and I just had to sit back and be quiet and listen to the team of Gen Zs and let them go, because they understand it and it's a new way of going. I do want to encourage everybody. I just mentioned in the chat, if you want to share what social media channels you're using right now and what are successful for you, that would be great for everybody on the call to see what you're using. So please feel free to share them in the chat. If you're having any problems in the chat, which hopefully you're not, but if you are, let me know in the Q&A and we'll make sure. I think we've got it fixed. So it's kind of and I do want to, one last thing on social media. I think it's so important to, and this was a thing years ago, it's like, don't let anybody go on it. Don't let your employees share it. Don't, they're going to say something wrong. That is a thing of the past. It is very much about organic, people getting involved, people being a part of what's going on. So involve your employees, make them brand ambassadors, help you find out where they're at and what they're doing, and see how that can help your business across the board too, and help them. It makes everybody feel good. And speaking of employees, we're going to go to email, and I'm telling you, both John and Karen are better experts on this than I am, but I do want to say one thing on email is make it fun, talk about your employees, spotlight them. That employee may be knocking on the door tomorrow of your customer and they've already seen them. Show your charities, show your community involvement. I think that's so important. But Karen, why don't you start us off on how do they get this going?
Well, it's easy. The hardest part, not even the hardest part, is collecting emails. So when you have leads coming in and you have people inquiring, you want to make sure that you are capturing their contact information, including their email address. A lot of people like to communicate, about a project or about work via email. Some even prefer texting. But once you've got a CRM, even if it's an Excel sheet, you want to put together an email program. You don't want to overdo it. It's, finding the balance. But there are email platforms that are available at no cost, up to a certain number of subscribers. Graham Roofing, yay, thank you for Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I'm still learning TikTok, yeah. So keep those comments coming in. So I'm going to name a few. I'm not going to endorse one over another, but there's Constant Contact. There's MailChimp. I think there's something called Emma. HubSpot is even a CRM / allows you to email. And I know MailChimp, it's up to 2,000 contacts and you're free. And then if you do go over that, it's not that expensive for a monthly subscription. And they have templates in there. So you can just go in and browse their templates and pick one that works for you. And like Heidi said, you can say, hey, it's fall, it's time for those roof inspections. Here's a coupon or here's a special. But then you know what? Share one of your employees' favorite pumpkin spice muffin recipe. Share, fun information. Do an employee profile. And maybe you only do it 4 times a year, one for each quarter, and have a little bit of seasonal information in there. And then a little bit about your company, about your brand, about who you are and who your people are. And don't forget that, that's kind of a newsletter, e-news type of structure. But Heidi, you have signature in this.
Yes.
And I think that's really important. That's one of the things that we email customers on a daily basis. And we forget that they're reading the email, but there's our signature. Is your logo in it? What does it look like? Is there a special message or a tagline that your company has that you should be including? Like, this is all a part of, it's kind of subliminal marketing that's going on, but people are going to see that as you're corresponding with potential customers, with vendors, with, everybody. This is all just another way to build your brand. And then lastly, e-blasts. E-blasts kind of, I look at them as a big announcement, a special, not part of that quarterly e-news, but like, hey, we did it for this webinar yesterday. We said, oh, hey, don't forget this important webinar is coming out tomorrow. So sign up if you haven't yet. So that's how email can work and can help your business. Again, it'll take a little bit of looking into, but they make it so easy anymore that anybody can just drag and drop and build a really nice professional communication piece.
Yeah. And again, and I know I said this, but I'm going to keep saying it. Before you go out and hire an agency to do any of this or hire people, look inside, because you'll be surprised. You have a lot of Gen Zs there too, who can figure out MailChimp really easy and can figure out TikTok and can do all this. And then you just need to help them with the messaging. So John, you do a great job keeping in front of all of your clients.
Yeah, and you know, if I can figure it out, your younger Gen Zs will jump right into it. Yeah, Karen, just to tag into what you said, I agree. I like the e-newsletters very much. I limit them to only go out every 2 months. I find that to be kind of my magic spot where I'm not overwhelming people with it. I do find I get the best response when I include links to videos. That's and also talking about videos. Let me jump to there's marketing and sales are very tightly joined together, right? So when you've got your marketing program going, don't forget about when you tie your sales in. I will tell you, very responsive when you're sending out proposals, especially when you're doing the email or text. I'll tell you, great people respond. Even homeowners respond excellent by when you're going out and you're giving an estimate. You go out into the front of their house. You're done. You're leaving. You put on your recording. You give them a recorded voice or text mail with you talking to them through whatever FaceTime, and you send it to them. They love it because you're saying, hey, just to follow up on what I said. They got it. You took the time to do video. So think about that as like your internal sales marketing works too. So that's why I want to tie in with this. Yeah. E-blasts, I agree. They should be for special events and notifications. And you're right. Your signature, you always have your social media channels listed below there so people know how to get a hold of you. Very effective. Again, this is one of those, don't overuse it. I know from my point, I hate getting email updates from a company 9 times a week. Which some of them do that. That drives me nuts. Guess where I put them? Right into the junk box. But other people that use it correctly, I read what they have to say.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And I love what's going on in the chat. If everybody be sure to read it. There's some great comments in here on the social media that we just had. And I do want to just point out one that from Ariel, I thought instead of doing TikTok, they're doing Insta Reels, which I thought was a great comment and another option because there is always a little bit of a question there. And so all of this, the email and the social media really leads also to those networking events. And this is where you can get to any event in your community for very little cost, talk about low budget and network and get to know people. And it makes such a difference. John, let's start with you, just kind of on some of the things that you've done that way, networking.
Yeah, I mean, volunteering is absolutely always a great way of going. I mean, I've started out, volunteering in local associations, whether, it doesn't have to just be roofing. I've been to the GCs and the AIAs and the BOMAs and all the different ones, and you do a little bit. Everyone has a life, so you can only do so much, but pick and choose what you go to and have other people in your company also do it. You don't need to be the only ambassador in your company. But it's always important to have a plan. If I'm going to go, let's say I decide to, go to a general contracting event or something of that nature, what's the reason I'm going there, right? Am I going there just because I can say I showed up? It's probably not going to be very effective. I like to have a plan. What is my plan? How many new contacts do I want to meet? Who am I specifically going to? I want to make sure that I get FaceTime with before the event's over. Or what am I there to accomplish? Am I there to accomplish introducing a new employee at my company that's going to be working on the accounts with these people? Or am I there to introduce some new projects I'm working on? Tell them my company's doing new things, whatever it is. You get the point. Have a plan, know there with it. And then, of course, it's consistency. if you join and do any volunteering or you go to networking events, you have to be consistent. If you only go once, you're just a person in a room and no one's going to remember you at all. If you go, you start to go on a regular basis, and of course, you're not going to be able to go to every one. We all have other events to deal with, but if you go consistently, people get to know you, see you around. You'll find that the circuit that travels to networking events is pretty much the same people. So you will start to build a great network outside of your company by attending these on a regular basis.
Yeah. And I agree, have a plan. Karen and I actually have a book on networking, and that was the big thing, have a plan. And it really kind of goes back to what Gordon was just typing in the chat about asking B2B. Before you go to the networking event, figure out who you want to visit, connect with them on LinkedIn. Because then now all of a sudden they've seen you on LinkedIn and they're like, oh yeah, I saw you. And I've had that happen so many times by really combining those two things.
Promote the event, right? If
Yeah.
an organization's having it, they're going to have something usually on social media. Share that. Let them know you're coming. Comment on it. There's more than just putting your own social media out there. You have to interact with other people in the right way.
Giving back to the industry, who you're part, or the community that you're part of.
Yep.
I am going to jump just for the because this next one I think also kind of leads right into this, and I'd love, Karen, for you to kind of take this one. But this is blogs, articles. However, this really stymies a lot of people. They're like, we can't do that, but it's not true.
Well, yeah, it does. It's so important for search engine optimization, because when, that's how people are finding you. They're finding you on the internet, and it's up to Google and Bing and these search engines, whether they see you. And we could do a whole webinar on SEO alone, but part of how they find you is by having fresh content. So if you can do a blog, like John said, you're getting started. Once you get started, it's not that hard. 350 words. You could write 350 words, or someone in your company could, about the importance of inspecting your roof before winter. And those, when people are searching, having that content on your site really helps elevate you. And if you don't like writing and you're terrified and you don't want to do it, here's a little secret. This is what we do at Roofers Coffee Shop a lot. Do a video. John was talking about a video, right? Turn your camera on and say, I'm going to talk to you today about why you should get your roof inspected before winter comes. And these are the problems that I see as a roofing contractor. And here's what we end up doing. And it costs you money. And so then you do your 10-minute video. Go to rev.com. I'll put that in the chat, or maybe Heidi, you can, since I'm talking, rev.com, and they'll transcribe that for you for $1 a minute. So for $10, your 10-minute video comes back as a transcript. Then you can take that text and you can pop it up on your website and give it a headline, why you should have roof inspections in the fall. And you're getting those words, is what the search engines are seeing, that are going to help you be found. And be consistent about it. Do it once a month, $10 a month for that video and the transcribe, and get that video up there as well. So people can either watch the video or read the transcript. Because I don't like watching videos unless it's a how-to, like YouTube, something like how to fix something. I'd rather read about it. So yeah, that's kind of a little sneaky secret that if you don't want to write, but you're great at talking, talk about it, transcribe it, pop it up there on the website, and be consistent monthly.
Karen, while we're kind of giving these little tips, we're actually experimenting right now with an AI writer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we are. Yeah.
So you remember you put the name of that in there?
This one's called Jasper, but there's so many of them. It's creepy. You put in your topic. So these AI writers have read the entire internet. It's algorithms, artificial intelligence. They get smarter the more you use it. You can do a free trial. I think it was $50 for the month or something. And so we signed up for a month so we can play with it. But I can say, I want to talk about roof inspections, and I want to talk about winter temperatures and it'll generate content for you. It'll generate social media posts. You can choose the tone of voice. Do you want it to be conversational? Do you want it to be funny? Do you want it to be I forgot about that, but it's out there. So yeah, it's getting better and better too.
It's really good. And you could also be like AI and be John Kenny, who writes so many articles and you write for us all the time, John. And I can say it has made such a difference for your company just by you. I mean, you were such a thought leader. So, I mean, and like you said, it was hard at first, but you got into it.
It is hard. And I tell you a tip out there. It's just like doing a video for the first time. Everyone's scared. It doesn't come natural. Anybody tells you it comes natural, not telling you the truth. It's hard to do it first. But a tip on writing, I was worried about writing as well. I'm not a writer. I've been a roofer my whole life. I've done this. What I know about writing, write in your own natural style. That's what you need to do. Just I guarantee you 90%, or even close to 100% of the people on this today can write an article that everyone else is going to be interested in if you talk from your heart and you talk about the facts that you know. I'll tell you something that's not out there enough in our industry is what I used to like to call simply project profiles. People do not write enough about the projects that they install. What made it better? What made this installation unique? How did your crew complete the job on time? I mean, in our industry, people thrive for that. Your facility managers will eat it up. So think about, just start with that. Start with a project profile, excuse me, and put that out there.
It's so powerful. And then you got to be sure to submit them, because I can tell you right now, we want them at Roofers Coffee Shop. Please send us your articles. So we have 2 sites I just put up there, but we have rooferscoffeeshop.com, of course, metalcoffeeshop.com, where we're everything and anything about metal. And then we have Ask a Roofer, which is, we are always looking for articles for homeowners. It helps you to get your articles not only on your website, but also get them published other places with article submissions. So Karen, you do this all the time.
I do. And you know what? I also want to tack on here that, who else is looking for projects to profile? Your manufacturers are. I know we're going to touch on this later, but all that's a big challenge. I've worked with some manufacturers and it's like, oh, we need a project. Well, if you installed XYZ manufacturers product on a neat, project, and maybe it was a retail center, maybe it was school, maybe it was a hospital, maybe it was a really unique home or high-end project. These manufacturers would just be drooling to get access to tell that story. So that you want to reach out to your reps, your manufacturer's reps, and they can connect you with the marketing people and say, hey, this is a really cool project. We should feature it. And also submit those projects for the industry awards. We've got a section on Roofers Coffee Shop that lists all the awards. The Asphalt Roofing Manufacturers Association has asphalt roofing awards. The Metal Roofing Alliance has quarterly awards. There are so many associations out there that would recognize projects. Definitely you want to think about your manufacturers.
I know. John?
Yeah, no, I agree. And Roofers Coffee Shop, Metal Coffee Shop, even I've done this a little bit with Ask a Roofer. I really love writing to the audience that it's on. Get the information out there. I love when someone reads an article that I wrote or something that I wrote or a video, and you go to a trade show or an event and they come up to you and they comment on it. It's like, at first it hits you like, wow, people actually do read it. It makes you feel good, right? And you'll see it also too when you talk about different opportunities to do. I am definitely, if you know me, I am a roofing history buff. That's what I really enjoy, getting that information out there. I'll give you an example of some strange opportunities that come from that. A lot of people interact with that because they want to know that information, learn about it. There's a company out there, roofmapping.com, that posts my historical stuff. Like if I show an old picture from the 30s, they'll put that on their site of what the building was. And then a roofer finds it that did something currently, maybe 10, 15 years ago, put the roof on the same building. So it starts to build that historical timeline. So, you don't realize how many things happen by promoting yourself and doing it. So I think that's, again, jumping back to that project profile. I think everyone should start in their companies and get those project profiles out there.
Yeah. And Andrew from Roof Mapping is on here. So Andrew, out of the UK, we're like, wow, that's so cool. So thank you for being here. And we just had Adam ask about backlinks. And so thank you, Adam, because that is kind of where we're going between all of that. one of the things that we think is so important is backlinks and online directories. So at Roofers Coffee Shop, we have the R Club, which is part of, and we're going to talk a little bit about it at the end, but it's really an opportunity for you to have a full directory with tons of backlinks, with sourcing, with all of your information, which is great for hiring, for your customers, and it's connected to Ask a Roofer, which then also you get your articles on there and it backlinks. So very important on those kind of directories, but you don't want to do just any directory, right, Karen?
Right. Yeah, because I mean, so directories back in the day, but kind of pre-search engine, directories were huge. And you would go to Yahoo and it was basically a directory. And so it became like overkill and too many. The important thing with a link and being on a directory, it has to be a reputable site that ranks high. I can't think of that ranking number, what that is right now.
Oh,
you're always
Moz.
yeah. So and that is reputable and ranks, is seen positively in Google's eyes, in Bing's eyes. That's what matters. So you don't just want to spread your website out across the internet on sites that are maybe not really reputable, maybe spammy, maybe full of ads, because that's going to bring you down. But you do want to be associated on sites that rank well. There are like Roofers Coffee Shop, Ask a Roofer, we've got contractor directories. I'm trying to think of some other examples off the top of my head. I don't want to tout one over another, but there's online, where homeowners go or building owners go to find a contractor and connect with them. Those rank a little bit higher. So it's important, if you can have a listing on there. Yelp is pretty ranking very high as well. So that's, don't just get out there to get out there, but make sure it's one that makes sense for your business and that it's related to the industry that you're in, and not just out there for the sake of having a link. They got smart and they figured that out. So they changed the algorithms to filter those out now.
And the associations is a great place to go. Your local associations are going to have directories for you. NRCA, they have directories where homeowners come in, everybody needs a roof, it goes to a NRCA contractor and you have a small directory. So those are very authentic, right? Domain authorities.
Yes,
so,
thank you.
Yes. John, you and we're actually showing Cotney Consulting Group's directory. You have a full directory on Roofers Coffee Shop, but you also have it with all of your associations. It just is so important.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Karen brought up a great point, and both you did too. Just stay with the reputable sites. You don't want to have your efforts dragged down by someone else's problems, right? And you also, you'd be surprised. SEO, not going into that, but I had to learn all that, and I had great mentors on this call here help me out with it to understand it. But your articles themselves will you start being an expert, and you start doing these different things, and you start tagging, hooking up with great Roofers Coffee Shop and finding the information. You're going to get your SEO up. It will come up on I say on its own, but with a lot less effort than you think it will take, because you're really taking the time to put quality information out there, and that's a key.
Yeah. And speaking of building quality information and getting it out there, manufacturers, that is, Karen talked about it a little bit. So Karen, why don't you take us from here, because this is really a free, low budget, great way to get out there.
It really is. And about 20-ish years ago, a little less than that, I worked for a major manufacturer, and my job was to be the contractor marketing liaison. And I would meet with contractors and I would do a profile of their business that was co-branded with the manufacturer, that they could use in their marketing to show that they were certified and approved by this manufacturer. We would do project profiles. We would sit with them and talk about who they want to target and work on direct mail postcards. We'd pull lists for them and we would share pretty much pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, so definitely building those relationships with your manufacturers, with your sales reps, and asking what kind of marketing support they offer. Many of them will offer the collateral that they have. They'll drop your logo on it, customize it for you. There's a lot of things that you can take advantage of from your manufacturers. Co-op programs, that usually involves money toward some advertising. It could be co-branded gear for your team to wear. You have the manufacturer's logo and your company logo, and then they share those costs with you. So there's ways to leverage that. They have a lot, manufacturers have large marketing budgets. And they want their contractors to be successful, because when their contractors are successful, they're going to install more materials. So this is why they invest in those programs, and they could do a better job advertising those programs, but people are busy. We're busy working and we're not thinking about it. So hopefully, you know, you'll take advantage of that after hearing this today.
And they're a lot easier now with technology. You can go on, all your receipts are saved, everything's there. And back in the day when I was doing it, John, you probably did too. You had to save every receipt and you had to copy them and send them in. Ugh. But now today with technology, it's so much easier.
The biggest problem you find with the manufacturer and distributor programs is the roofers don't ask for it. It's there, you have to ask. Someone asked a question earlier about the best platform for B2B. And of course, I saw the answer was LinkedIn, which, yeah, social media, I agree, that's the best platform. But this is a great platform for your business to businesses, getting cooperative advertisement programs with your manufacturers. I will tell you that, believe it or not, direct mail pieces absolutely still work for the roofing contractor in today and should be incorporated into your overall marketing plan. And I think you'll find out that the manufacturer co-op programs are great for getting, they've already got the literature. You get co-opted branded on it. You've got pieces to send out to, you know, to add on to your whole profile. Why not? And they're happy to do it because it's great for them too.
I love it. Well, we have gone a little bit longer than we planned today, but boy, thank you. Everybody's still here and we're having so much fun talking. So we do want to, you know, we've been answering your questions as we've gone, but if you have any questions, you can get a hold of any of us at any time. Heidi at rooferscoffeeshop.com, Karen at rooferscoffeeshop.com. We're going to have this at the end, and then John will have your email there. But we did want to remind everybody that we do have something special for all of you, and that is our partnership that we do between Cotney Consulting and Roofers Coffee Shop. So John, do you want to start off with what you offer our club members?
Yeah, so besides the obvious, you get a great discount on any one of the services that are listed there. You know, we'll give you free financial risk analysis, operational, and a software kind of like a stack analysis. Look to make sure you're utilizing all your software the right way. Complimentary webinars as we're getting here. But one thing, if this is a boost, if you're not in the art club, you need to join, because now we've teamed up and we're doing trainings now with the art club members. We just did estimating. We got project management coming up. We're going to do service, superintendent, crew leaders, and much, much more. That is a great added benefit, and I love to train. So I'm happy to be there with everyone.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And same thing for anybody who's a Cotney client right now. We will, with the R Club, we will give you a discount. So with the R Club, you get that full directory we talked about. You get to be on Ask a Roofer, so you get to engage with the home and building owners. But Karen and I do a 30-minute marketing consult. And so we've actually written a couple books on this stuff. And so we'll share the books with you, and for free, we'll give you the books, and also do just have a little consultation so you can ask more definite questions. And then you also get discounts on classifieds and networking. And by being with Cotney, you're going to get 15% off the R Club. And I'm going to say right now, anybody who's on this webinar today, just let us know and we're going to give you 15% off. In fact, we have Tracy Prochu who's on here, who's our R Club person. So if you're interested, put it in the chat and we'll get you some good information. So again, we just want to do these free Affinity webinars to put it out there, share some thoughts, and we'd love to hear all of your thoughts. Thank you so much for everything you put in the chat. It was just great. Here's our information. Karen's also put it in the chat, but here's all of our information. Please feel free to call any one of us at any time. We're always here to help, and we just love to network and get to know you all.
Absolutely.
So Karen, John, thank you again so much. I love it. We just were talking, our next Affinity webinar will be in December.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about cause marketing. So that's a big one. Karen, John, thank you.
Thanks, Heidi.
And we will see all of you in December for cause marketing. And we hope to talk to you way before then. Have a great day.
Bye.
I know.